Before sleep takes you, come with me on a journey through the most intimate universe, your own mind. From the first spark of thought to the deep hum of dreams, your brain carries you every night through a hidden world of memories, feelings, and quiet miracles. This is not just science. It's your story. Let go. Breathe deeply, and listen. This is the mind's journey. The world grows quiet around you. The hum of the day fades like the last streaks of twilight sliding behind the hills. You lie still, your body becoming heavier with each breath, and your thoughts soften, floating gently on the surface of awareness. This moment, the space between wakefulness and sleep, is delicate. It's where the edges of the conscious world blur, and the unseen world within you begins to rise. Your breath slows, deepens. The night outside settles into silence. And now, the night inside you begins to stir. Beneath the surface of your skull, a glowing world pulses quietly. It doesn't flicker with the noise of cities or the rush of rivers. It shines with something far more subtle, the light of living thought. Inside your brain, around 86 billion neurons wait like stars across a cosmic landscape. Each one, a tiny engine of electricity and meaning. But these stars are not silent. They whisper. They flash and rest, a secret rhythm. They speak the language of the body and the self. You don't hear them, but you are made from their speech. Even now, as your eyelids grow heavier, those neurons continue their quiet work. Some fire in waves, sending gentle pulses across the brain like ripples on a moonlit pond. Others rest, waiting. These are not random sparks. They are carefully timed messages, telling your lungs to breathe, your heart to beat, your memories to hold their place a little longer. Each moment of thought begins in this whisper, a faint electrical pulse passing from one neuron to the next. A dance of tiny signals that define who you are. And yet, it's so easy to forget that you are made of this light. That inside you, every second, a story is unfolding. One that began long before you were born. The first neurons of your life formed in the dark warmth of the womb. Long before your first breath, they reached out, touched, connected. Like curious vines, they explored the unknown, searching for others. By the time you arrived in the world, your brain was already a dense forest of connection, a vast and tangled web where thought could grow. And now, years later, that forest still grows. Every day, every experience, every moment of quiet, and every burst of wonder adds new branches to the trees within you. You are not a finished being. You are a living question. Close your eyes. Let yourself drift. Imagine your mind not as a machine, but a garden. Not as wires and circuits, but as roots and fireflies. It breathes. It remembers. It dreams. In this garden, neurons don't just flash and forget. They change. When one neuron speaks to another, a tiny gap is crossed, a space called the synapse. Here, the language of electricity becomes the language of chemistry. Special messengers called neurotransmitters leap bravely across the divide, like sparks between two fireflies on a summer night. This is how your brain makes meaning, not through brute force, but through trust. One cell leans toward the next, and the message continues. It's like a relay of invisible whispers that never stops. Even now, as your thoughts become foggy and the warmth of the pillow holds your cheek, your neurons keep speaking. Sometimes, a single idea takes only milliseconds to form. Other times, it builds slowly, layer by layer. And always, it begins in light. That light is not the kind you see with your eyes. It's not sunlight or lamplight. It's the glow of electrical charge, moving along pathways shaped by time, memory, and emotion. Scientists can see it now, using special tools that watch your brain light up like constellations blinking into life. but long before they could measure it, your brain was already glowing. You are older than science. Your brain knows this light better than any machine ever will. It knows when to flash brightly and when to dim low for rest. And right now, it is gently lowering its lamp's dot as the outer world fades. The inner world becomes clearer. You may not feel it, but your brain is preparing for sleep. Certain areas, like the thalamus, a small structure deep in the center, begin to reduce the signals they send. This is like a librarian dimming the lamps, closing the windows, ushering the stories inward. The noise of the day, footsteps, phone calls, passing voices becomes distant. Your body relaxes. And in this quiet, the inner world of your mind begins its nightly shift. Another part of your brain, the hypothalamus, starts to release melatonin, a gentle chemical lullaby. It floats through your blood, letting every part of you know it's time to slow down, time to loosen your grip on wakefulness, time to trust that your body and your mind know how to carry you through the night. You are not falling. You are being carried by rhythms older than thought, by patterns deeper than dreams. Even your brainwaves begin to change now. During the day, they move quickly, like fast chatter in a busy room. But now, they slow. Alpha waves gently take over, calm, soft, rhythmic like the lull of ocean tide. Soon, theta waves will guide you deeper into the gentle waters of early sleep. Eventually, delta waves, slowest of all, will cradle you in the deepest rest. I'm not alone in this. Every human brain follows this path. Every night, the journey repeats. And each time, it begins here. In the whisper before sleep dot outside, the stars move across the sky. Inside, stars flicker in your mind. Both are ancient. Both are true. You are part of both dot now. Let the hush grow deeper. Let the outer world disappear completely. All that remains is your breath, slow and quiet, and the tiny fires within you. Your brain is not silent, but its song is soft. A lullaby of chemistry and charge, memory and meaning. Even now, as you drift, new pathways are forming. New possibilities are growing. Your brain is not shutting down, it is shifting. It is slipping into its nighttime self. More mysterious, more fluid, more free dot. Where does it go next? What stories will it create when the lights are off? What dreams rise from? Flickers in the dark? Your neurons know. And soon, you will too dot. There are rivers inside you, not of water, but of light, flowing not through valleys or canyons, but through the soft folds of your brain. They do not roar. They do not crash. Instead, they move in flashes, gentle and rhythmic, like fireflies weaving through the dusk. Your neurons, each one shaped like a branching tree, are the quiet carriers of thought. Nearly 86 billion of them reside in your brain, and when one fires, it sends a wave of electricity down its trunk, across the long thread of its axon, toward another waiting cell. These signals travel fast, faster than a blink, faster than a thought itself. But they do not go alone. They follow trails shaped by memory, habit, and emotion, winding paths carved by your life. You may think you are lying still right now, but within you, there is motion. 1,000 rivers of light flowing across a midnight landscape. This is how your brain speaks to itself. This is how you remember your name. This is how you feel the softness of your blanket. This is how you know you're here, breathing. Now that thought is not a single spark. It is a current, a wave that flows across many neurons, lighting them one after another. Some neurons respond to sight, some to sound, some to words or the pull of emotion. But all of them speak the same way, a soft pulse, followed by silence. Then another pulse. You don't feel this directly. The signals are too small, too fast. But you live through them. Every movement, every memory, every moment of stillness. They are the hidden rhythm beneath your waking and your dreaming. Might imagine your brain as a glowing city at night. Each neuron is a tiny house, its windows lit up as someone inside turns on a lamp. Some areas flicker all the time, like the busy centers of attention or vision. Others, like memory or reflection, shine more softly, in corners where fewer passers-by. Wander. When you think of someone you love, a river lights up. When you hear your name, another path flares. When you imagine a sound, the same cells may activate as if you were hearing it for real. This is the magic of the mind. It does not always wait for the world. Sometimes it creates the world inside. Each time one neuron lights, it sends its message to the next across the synapse, a narrow space just wide enough to hold a pause. In that pause, chemistry takes over. Tiny molecules, called neurotransmitters, leap across, carrying the message onward. Some of these messengers excite, igniting the next neuron like a spark catching fire. Others calm, quieting the noise, asking for stillness. Your brain is not just active. It is balanced, always shifting between motion and rest. These signals form patterns. And those patterns form your perception as you drift towards sleep. Some of these rivers slow. Others, surprisingly, begin to flow more freely. The brain is never truly still, but it rearranges. Daytime pathways dim. Nighttime pathways begin to glow. You are not turning off. You are turning inward. Asterisk. The light of your brain is soft, but not small. Its power does not come from intensity, but from connection. A single neuron is quiet. But when millions fire together, they form waves like wind over tall grass or ripples across a pond. These waves are what we call brain waves, and they change as your state of mind changes. In full wakefulness, your brain pulses quickly. Beta waves carry the thoughts of planning, talking, doing. As you slow, alpha waves emerge, calm, gentle, floating. Soon, theta waves will arrive, deeper still, where dreams begin to take shape. You may not hear them, but you feel them. You feel them in the way your body softens, in the way your thoughts lose their sharpness, becoming round, like pebbles smoothed by water. You feel them in the slow tug of sleep, drawing you towards stillness. And yet, even in stillness, your neurons continue their dance. Some fire in loops, repeating patterns of motion that hold memory or guide breathing. Others reach far, carrying sensations from your fingertips or the quiet of your chest. Even as your conscious mind drifts, the undercurrent of your brain continues, tending to the business of being alive. These glowing rivers don't only carry information. They shape it. They decide what matters, what to remember, what to forget. They help form your sense of self, your awareness of time, your feeling of comfort or fear. Every signal is a decision, every pause a possibility. And what makes them flow in the first place? Sometimes it's a stimulus, a sound, a touch, a taste. But sometimes it's something gentler, a thought, an image, a memory you didn't even know you were holding. These can spark neurons into life, sending messages across old bridges, or building new ones entirely. This is how the brain learns. Not through force, but through movement. Not all at once, but again and again. A signal that flows more often becomes easier to send. This is how a habit forms. This is how a memory strengthens. This is how you become yourself, moment by moment. And even now, as you lie in quiet and stillness, those rivers are flowing. Not chaotically, but in harmony. Not for show, but for care. They tidy the day. They soften the corners of thought. They carry what you no longer need downstream into the silence. What remains flows gently forward. These glowing streams do not vanish. They travel inward, deeper into the sleeping brain, into places where images form, stories begin, and consciousness shifts. You are already following them, drifting gently through the river's slow curve, letting go of the edges, letting thought become current, letting light become memory. And just ahead, just beyond the bend, a quieter region waits, the hidden architects of your mind, who do not flash or fire, but hold the bridges steady, while neurons light the sky of your mind like stars in motion. Another kind of presence watches from the dark. You may think the brain is built only of sparks, of messages flying like fireflies between neuron to neuron, but that is only part of the truth. There is another world beneath that light, a quieter world, one of structure, of protection, of care, glial cells. The other half of your brain's hidden symphony. They do not flash with electricity. They do not send messages in bursts or fire, in waves, but they are everywhere, 10 times more numerous than neurons. Their name comes from the Greek word for glue, and in a way, that is what they are. The glue of thought, the scaffolding of consciousness, the garden's gentle keepers. They do not speak in sparks, but they listen. They do not command, but they guide. They do not race, but they remain steady, still, surrounding as you drift. Deeper into rest, it is they who tend the silent cathedral of your mind. There are many kinds of glial cells, each with a different role to play. Some are caretakers. Some are builders. Some are protectors. Together, they form the unseen architecture beneath your thoughts. Astrocytes, shaped like tiny stars, wrap their arms around your neurons and blood vessels. They make sure your brain stays nourished. They sense when neurons are too active, when they're working too hard, and they step in gently, restoring balance, calming the storm. You don't feel this, not directly. But when your thoughts slow and your mood lifts, when your mind feels steady after stress or stimulation, that is their quiet work. They sweep away the debris of thought, not with brooms, but with chemistry. Every signal leaves behind traces, used up molecules, drifting ions. Astrocytes gather them, wash them, return the brain to stillness. And while you sleep, this cleaning becomes deeper. Every night, as your body falls into slumber, something remarkable begins. Your brain's glial network opens wide, making space for waves of cerebrospinal fluid to flow more freely. This fluid rinses your brain, gently carrying away the waste built up from a day of thinking, feeling, deciding, remembering. It's like opening the windows in a quiet room, letting the wind clear the dust, letting the night do what the day cannot. This is not a metaphor. This is real. Sleep cleans your brain, not symbolically, but physically. And glial cells make it possible. Then there are the microglia, small and watchful. They are the guardians of your mind, patrolling constantly. When they sense trouble, injury, inflammation, imbalance, they rise like waves, surrounding the problem with care. Not to destroy, but to restore. They also prune, quietly, gently, trimming away the connections that are no longer needed. Just as a gardener removes tangled branches so light can reach the roots, your microglia help shape your mind for clarity. They let the important paths grow stronger. They remove the noise. So when you forget something small, a word, a dream, an old detail from long ago, it may be because your brain decided to let it go, not out of failure, but out of grace. To keep you light, to keep you clear, you are not losing pieces of yourself. You are making space for what matters. The glial cells do not sleep. They do not take breaks. Even as you slip into dreams, they continue their watch, repairing, refining, rebuilding. And they are not just passive helpers. Recent science shows they may do far more than we once believed. Astrocytes, it turns out, may help direct the traffic of thought itself, deciding which neurons connect, which signals pass through, which memories solidify. They are not just building the brain, they are guiding it. They are sculptors of your inner world. Imagine walking through a great library, endless and quiet. Each book is a memory, a thought, an experience. The neurons light your path, let you read, let you feel. But it is the glial cells who dust the shelves, who repair torn pages, who whisper softly when you linger too long in one place. They do not speak loudly, but they know every corner of you. When you are young, glial cells help your brain bloom, shaping it rapidly, helping neurons find one another. When you are older, they help keep what matters strong. And when you are dreaming, they do their gentlest work, nourishing the seeds of tomorrow's thoughts. You are not alone inside your mind. You are not running without care. You are being held, supported, watched over. You might imagine your thoughts as birds in flight, fast, beautiful, ever-moving. But glial cells are the sky they fly through, the air that carries them, the silence that allows their music to echo. They are not often spoken of. But tonight, you know them, not by name, but by feeling. The feeling of being steadied, the feeling of something in you holding it all together. You can trust this architecture. It has been shaped over millions of years. It does not forget how to hold you. Now, as your body sinks deeper into the warmth of rest, your glial network is hard at work, washing the day from your mind, tending to the places where your thoughts tangled too tightly, making way for softness. They are the caretakers, the watchers in the dark, the hands that hold the lanterns as your dreams begin to rise. And even dreams, even those impossible shapes of feeling and memory, require structure, require guidance, require maps hidden beneath your skull. Inside your skull, there is a landscape you cannot see, yet it holds your entire experience of the world. It is not made of hills or rivers, not drawn with ink or thread, but it is a map, living and alive. And you carry it always, not in your pocket, but in your brain. This map is not fixed. It breathes, it shifts, it changes shape as you change. Every sound you hear, every touch you feel, every memory you hold, each one leaves its mark upon this hidden terrain. You may not feel it happen, but as you listen to a familiar song or reach for your cup in the dark, your brain is navigating these quiet inner paths, following trails it has traced across years of sensation. The brain has no compass. It does not need one, because it carries within it a map of the body, and of the world the body moves through. This begins early. Even in the womb, your brain begins charting the territory of your skin. Tiny neurons fire in response to pressure, movement, sound. With each new experience, your brain learns, here is a foot, here is warmth, here is the sound of heartbeat. The maps begin to form. And as you grow, they grow too. There is a place in your brain, just behind your forehead, called the somatosensory cortex, a thin, curved strip of tissue that quietly keeps track of you. Each part of your body has its own place on this map. Your hands, with their endless curiosity, take up a vast space. Your lips, rich with sensation, are drawn larger than your knees. This is not a literal map. It is a map of importance. The more something matters to you, the more it feels, the more space it is given. This is called the cortical homunculus, a strange, stretched figure representing the way your brain sees your body. It looks almost silly, with giant hands, wide lips, and a tiny torso, but it is truthful in its way, because the brain is not fair. It gives more room to what you touch, to what you feel, to what connects you to others. And these maps are not only for the body, there are maps of sound, where each frequency has its own quiet region. So the softest sigh and the highest whistle both find their home. There are maps of movement, where plans for motion live even before a muscle moves. There are maps of sight, with entire neighborhoods, of neurons dedicated to what you see, what you recognize, what you remember. And remarkably, there are maps that map maps. Areas of your brain that coordinate different kinds of maps, binding sight to sound, touch to memory, emotion to language. When you remember a place from childhood, its smell, its light, the feeling of your feet on the floor, you are walking across multiple maps at once. The brain weaves them together into something seamless. You do not notice it, but you live it. Everyday dot and the maps are not permanent. A violinist who uses their fingers with precision and repetition shows an enlarged area of brain dedicated to those fingertips. A blind person, reading Braille with their hands, uses parts of their brain once meant for sight. The maps adapt. The brain redraws itself again and again. You are not bound by the borders you were born with. Your mind reshapes its geography in response to the life you live. This is plasticity, not the material, but the power to change, to mold, to shift the terrain when the wind of experience blows in. You are not just a traveler. You are the cartographer. Each day, your thoughts redraw lines. Each night, your dreams smooth them into memory. Your feelings, even the smallest ones, help decide what stays. A familiar song lights up the map differently than a new one. A scent tied to a loved one triggers not just a sense of smell, but entire regions of memory and emotion. Your brain doesn't store experience like files and folders. It stores them like places, like landmarks, a favorite voice, the weight of a warm blanket, the curve of a friend's handwriting. All find their space in the map, not isolated, but connected. And tonight, as you lie still, your brain is quietly updating this atlas. Tiny adjustments, subtle shifts, reweaving today's sensations into the fabric of the familiar. Your memories do not fade in silence. They travel. They move from temporary camps to more permanent homes, guided by patterns, meaning, repetition. This is the unseen labor of sleep. To walk the paths again, to reinforce the steps that matter, to forget the ones that lead nowhere. You are being gently remapped, made ready for tomorrow's journey. And not all maps are outward. Some point inward, to feelings, to reflection, to the sense of self. There is a region of your brain, the default mode network, that becomes more active when the world outside is quiet. It is thought to hold the map of you, who you've been, what you believe, how the puzzle pieces of your life fit together. When you rest, this map glows. Not brightly, not loudly, but like lanterns along an old familiar trail dot, it reminds you where you are. Not just in space, but in story. And tonight, as sleep folds around you, this story map begins to drift. Not to vanish, but to transform. For as maps fade, dreams rise. Not with borders or rules, but with colors that blend, places that shift, memories that bend into imagination. The cartographers step aside, and the artists of the mind take over. Memory does not sit still. It does not live in a box or a shelf, waiting patiently for you to return. Instead, it floats, flows, weaves itself into the present moment. A shimmer of thought that moves when you move. A thread that glows brighter when the light of attention shines upon it. You do not store memories like books in a library. You carry them like threads in a tapestry, knotted, layered, and always shifting. Some threads are vivid. The scent of rain on the first day of school, the warmth of a hand you held, the sound of laughter through a half-open window. Others are softer, looser, moments you cannot quite place. Yet they hung quietly in the background of your being. And all of them, vivid and vague, are held not in one place, but across many dots. When you remember something, you are not pulling from a drawer. You are reweaving a moment. Different parts of your brain light up, one for sights, another for sounds, another still for the shape of the feeling that lived inside that day. Each time you recall, you rebuild. Each remembering is an act of creation. And in that creation, the memory may change, subtly, slowly, but always alive. This is not a flaw. It is a gift. Because memory is not about perfect accuracy. It is about meaning. About holding what matters and letting the rest float gently away. When you sleep, your brain continues this weaving dot during the day. Experiences are gathered like loose fibers, disconnected, raw, still rustling with the noise of the moment. But at night, in the quiet, your brain begins to sort them. Some are stitched firmly into the quilt of long-term memory. Others are softened, blurred, or gently unraveled. This is part of why dreams can feel so tangled with truth. Because your brain is still touching the threads, feeling them, testing them, deciding what to keep. There's a part of your brain called the hippocampus, shaped like a curled seahorse, deep within your skull. It is one of the great weavers. During sleep, especially deep sleep, the hippocampus replays the day's events, soft bursts of activity that echo through your cortex. You don't feel this happening. But in that echo, connections grow stronger. Details settle in. The mind learns what is worth remembering. And this is why rest matters. Because memory is not just made in experience. It is made in stillness, in silence, in sleep. Not all memories stay. Some fall away, not because you failed to hold them, but because they were not woven tightly enough. Your brain lets go not out of carelessness, but out of wisdom. There is only so much space on the loom, only so many threads you can carry forward. And so the brain trims, prunes, shapes your story into something that fits your life. Sometimes, a sound or scent will bring a forgotten thread back to life. A song you haven't heard in years. A fragrance that brings you to tears without warning. This is because memory is not linear. It is layered, folded, a spiral of time stitched into now. Each thread connects to another. Your memory of a place may awaken a memory of a voice. That voice may carry with it a feeling, which opens a door to a decision, which reminds you who you were. All this in a single breath. And while some memories fade, others deepen. Emotional memories, especially, are held close. Moments of joy, sorrow, awe. Your brain wraps them in velvet. They are easier to recall, harder to erase, because they are stitched with feeling. There is another region, the amygdala, that helps with this, tagging events with emotion, deciding what rises. And what sinks. In this way, memory is more than fact. It is sensation. It is the texture of a moment, not just its outline. And over time, the tapestry thickens. New threads are woven through old ones. You revisit a place, and suddenly the old memory flickers beneath the new light. Your past does not vanish. It changes. Color. Even when you forget a detail, a name, a date, the emotional thread often remains. You may not remember what was said, but you remember how it felt. This, too, is memory. You are not a vault. You are a river of recollection. And some threads drift to the surface only when the current is just right. Tonight, as you rest, your brain begins its gentle sorting again. Memories of today, small and large, sharp and soft, are gathered, examined, and placed. Some will be held close. Others, quietly released. You don't have to try. It happens naturally, like breathing, like dreaming. And just as the loom of the mind works, so does the thread of imagination. Because sometimes a memory is shaped not by what happened, but by what you believe, what you feel, what you dream might have been. Your memories are not static. They are stories co-written by the past and the present. And so, as you lie in stillness, your inner weaver keeps working, threading together the fabric of self. Tonight's dreams may pull from yesterday's thread, but they will also spin new ones, ideas never felt before, images never seen. What if memory and imagination are not separate things? What if they are two hands on the same loom, one shaping what was, the other shaping what could be? There is a mirror inside you. It does not hang on the wall. It does not reflect your face or your form, but it moves when others move. It feels when others feel. This mirror lives in your brain, not made of glass, but of cells called mirror neurons, and through them, you become more than just one being moving through the world. You become part of others, and a part of you, long before you understand language, long before you speak a single word. You learn by watching, by imitating, by feeling the shape of another's action inside your own body. A smile forms on someone's lips, and without thinking, you smile too. A yawn ripples across a quiet room, and soon your jaw begins to stretch in answer. Someone cries, and a knot rises in your throat, though no words have passed between. You. This is mirroring, and it is not just behavior. It is connection, written into the folds of your brain. Mirror neurons were first discovered in monkeys, but we see their signs in humans every day. They fire when you perform an action, and just as strongly when you see someone else do it. But more than that, they seem to echo emotion itself, not just movement, but meaning. When you see someone trip, your body flinches. When you hear a voice tremble with sadness, something inside you softens. You are not just observing pain. You are feeling the trace of it inside your own nervous system. And this is no accident. It is a design of empathy. You are not made to be separate. You are made to sense others as part of your world. Not just intellectually, but bodily. In a way, your brain makes no sharp boundary between what you see and what you feel. It invites you to feel alongside others, to imagine their experience not from the outside looking in, but from the inside reaching out. This is why stories move you. Why a scene in a movie can bring tears to your eyes, even when you know it's fiction. Your mirror neurons do not ask for proof. They respond to expression, to movement, to emotion, and they offer you a bridge from yourself to another. And these bridges begin forming early. As a baby, you mimic your caregiver's face. You echo their smile, their frown, their coos. Even before language, you are mapping feeling to form. Your brain learns. This is joy. This is fear. This is love. Not by logic, but by reflection. It is not just what you are taught. It is what you absorb deep in the nervous system, beneath words. Even now, as you listen, you may notice a faint reflection, the trace of a memory, the shadow of someone's voice, and how it stirs something familiar within you. This is the mirror at work, always gently turning, always showing you how human experience is shared. But this mirroring is not perfect. And that, too, is important, because while mirror neurons create the foundation for empathy, true empathy is also a choice, an act of slowing down, of listening not only to what you reflect, but to what another person truly feels. The mirror helps you begin, but understanding asks for attention. Still, the foundation remains. You are wired to feel with others. Not in the abstract, but in your very flesh. Your nervous system does not just keep you alive. It helps you love, relate, connect. It offers you resonance. There is a quiet rhythm in this, a harmony in shared experience. When you speak with someone and feel seen, truly seen, your brains begin to sync. Electrical patterns align. Pupil size shifts together. Breath slows. In unison dot, it is more than language. It is neural music. You may not be conscious of it, but your mirror neurons are playing their part, not with loud declarations, but with subtle, steady chords. And when you feel isolated, when loneliness rises like fog, it is often because the mirror has gone quiet, not shattered, just still, but it remains, waiting, ready to reflect again. Even reading words on a page, or hearing a calm voice in the dark, can stir the mirror back into motion. It does not need a body beside you, only a moment of openness, only a flicker of emotion. Shared empathy lives here, not as a virtue, but as a capacity. You are built to feel with others, to walk gently through their world, as they might through yours. And sometimes, the mirror reflects inward, too. When you remember yourself, a younger you, a softer you, a version of yourself that once struggled or dreamed, you may feel tenderness. That, too, is mirroring. A self-empathy that begins with understanding, with seeing, with kindness. You are not only a reflection of others, you are a reflection of who you've been, who you are becoming. And tonight, as you rest, the mirror inside, you remains quiet, steady, glinting with the memory of connection. You are not just one spark among many. You are part of a web, a chorus, a shared breath in the dark dot. And if you listen closely, you may begin to wonder. There are tiny messengers moving through you now. Not thoughts, not dreams, but something quieter still. Chemicals floating through blood and brain, shaping your feelings from the inside out. You don't see them. You don't command them. But they are always working, gently sculpting the rhythm of your mood. Tonight, as the world grows dim, your body begins to slow. And with that slowing, your inner chemists stir. They do not rush. They do not speak. But they open the gates to peace. One molecule at a time. Begin with serotonin. It moves like a soft thread through your nervous system, helping you feel stable, steady, present. Serotonin does not shout joy, but it hums contentment, a quiet reminder that you are safe, that this moment is enough. When the sun touches your skin, when you eat something nourishing, when you walk through green spaces, serotonin rises in. Answer. It is the brain's way of saying, yes, be here. This is good. Even now, in rest, your body remembers those moments. And the memory itself can invite serotonin forward, a gentle echo, triggered by thought, sustained by stillness. Then comes oxytocin. It is often called the bonding chemical, but it is more than that. It is the chemistry of trust. Oxytocin flows when you are held, when you are heard, when someone meets your eyes with softness. It lingers in the hush after shared laughter, in the warmth of skin against skin, in the quiet joy of feeling understood. And even when you are alone, memory can stir oxytocin from within. The thought of someone you love, the image of their face, the sound of their voice, can release this molecular balm. Your brain does not always wait for touch. Sometimes, imagination is enough. This is why kindness feels healing. Why generosity uplifts you too. Because oxytocin is released not only when you receive, but when you give. And tonight, in the gentle dark, this chemical weaver moves through you still, reminding your body that you are connected, even in silence. And now, melatonin, the DMs reminding your body that you are connected, even in silence. And now, melatonin, the melatonin, the star tender of your night. As daylight fades and your eyes take in the dimming world, your brain begins to signal the pineal gland, a small, pinnacle-shaped structure nestled deep inside you. It responds by releasing melatonin, slowly, steadily, into your bloodstream. This is not sleep itself, but the whisper of sleep, the drawing of the curtain, the signal that night has come. Melatonin does not force you to sleep. It invites you. It prepares the mind for softness, the body for surrender. Your temperature drops, your breathing slows, and your brain begins to close the gates that hold the day in place. You drift. But the orchestra is not over. There are other players, other chemicals tuning the music of your mind. There's dopamine, the spark of joy, of reward, of that quiet. Yes, when you feel that something has clicked. There's GABA, a molecule of calm, that quiets your neurons, slows their firing, helping your mind let go of racing thoughts. GABA does not make you feel happy. It makes you feel still. It hushes the nervous system like a lullaby, turning the volume down on everything you no longer need to hold. All these molecules, small, invisible, precise, are crafting your experience of calm, not through magic, through biology, through balance. You are not calm by accident. You are calm because your body is wise. It knows how to rest. It remembers how to release. Even when you forget, your cells remember. And this chemistry is not separate from your life. It is shaped by what you do, by how you breathe, by how gently you treat yourself. A deep breath, slow, full, quiet, can nudge your nervous system towards safety. Stretching your body, closing your eyes, touching your own hand with intention. These small acts all speak in chemical language. They say, "It is safe now." Let go. And the brain listens. You may not feel it right away, but the messengers begin to move. They ripple outward, softening your muscles, slowing your thoughts, settling your heartbeat. And in this stillness, you may remember, feelings are not imagined. They are made. They are molecules. And those molecules are working for you now. Even sadness, even fear, they have their chemistries too. They are not signs of failure, but of the brain responding, adapting, alerting. But tonight is not about fear. Tonight is about peace. And your inner chemists are still at work, opening the doors to dreams, laying down the scaffold of sleep. You do not need to try. You only need to allow. Let serotonin hum like warm air through your chest. Let oxytocin curl around your heart like a friend. Let melatonin draw shadows around your edges until you are softened completely. These are not stories. These are signals. Real biological. Use. And as they flow, you are gently being rewritten, not in thought, but in sensation. Your body is not a machine to command. It is a garden that knows when to bloom and when to rest. Tonight, it chooses rest. And as your breathing deepens and your muscles begin to yield to the bed, you may begin to wonder. Even now, in the hush of night, your mind is not still. It is lit from within, a sky alive with quiet storms, waves of electricity pulsing beneath the surface of thought. You do not feel sparks, yet they are there. Not wild, not chaotic, but measured, rhythmic, like music playing beneath your awareness. These pulses are brain waves, not waves of water, but of voltage, rising and falling in smooth cycles, each one a signal, each one note in the symphony of your consciousness. They have names, gentle Greek letters that whisper like lullabies. Alpha, theta, delta. Each wave carries a different rhythm. Each one marks a stage of mind. When you are awake, but calm, your brain moves in alpha waves, slow and steady, like a quiet stream. They ripple across the surface of your mind when you close your eyes, when you breathe deeply, when you let go of urgency. Alpha is the doorway, the place between thought and dream, between doing and being. As you drift closer to sleep, theta waves begin to rise. They are softer, deeper, like ocean swells beneath the surface. In theta, imagination loosens. Your mind begins to wander, not aimlessly, but freely. Images blur. Time stretches. You may not be fully asleep, but the world begins to fade. This is the realm of drowsy insight. where fragments of memory dance with flashes of feeling. And then comes delta, the slowest, deepest wave. A long, quiet rhythm like the hush between heartbeats. Delta waves mark your most restful sleep. In them, your body repairs, your brain resets. There is no story here, only the vast, dark ocean of rest. It is here that your neurons move together, in synchrony, as if the entire mind is exhaling at once. No thoughts push through, no noise interrupts, only deep, still water. And though these waves are silent, they are essential. Without them, you cannot dream, you cannot remember, you cannot heal. This electrical storm is not chaos. It is order in motion. Each moment of your day, each blink, each breath, each decision and memory rides these waves. They are the foundation of thought, the pulse of perception, the silent rhythm behind your eyes. And even in sleep, they continue. Not as the busy chatter of waking, but as the soft music of restoration. At times, the waves shift quickly, from alpha to beta, from theta to delta, and back again. Your brain is not a metronome. It is a dancer, adjusting to emotion, to thought, to need. These shifts are not disruptions. They are graceful, necessary, fluid. Even dreaming has its own pattern, a cycle called REM, or rapid eye movement, when your brain returns to faster waves, almost as if it is awake again. But you are not awake. You are suspended in vision, a world made from within. Your body rests, still and heavy, but your mind paints with light. These cycles repeat through the night, like tides, moving from deep to light, from still to vivid. Each wave carries you through sleep's architecture, each one with its own purpose. You may not notice the transitions. That is the design. The music of your brain is not made to be heard, but felt. You are not just thinking. You are humming. Every cell a tiny note, every wave a phrase in the melody of being. And tonight, as you lie here, your brain begins its descent. From the quick peaks of waking to the soft valleys of slumber. Alpha grows stronger. Then theta gently takes your hand. And slowly, delta welcomes you home. You are not falling. You are gliding into the deep currents of your own rhythm. Let the storm move. Let the waves pass through. They are not disturbance. They are design. This is how you rest. This is how you heal. And as the waves rise and fall within you, you might begin to wonder. Your brain is not stone. It is not carved in permanence, not sealed or set like marble. It is soft in ways you cannot see, fluid, shifting, alive with change. This is neuroplasticity, the quiet truth that your brain can change itself. And it does, endlessly, not only when you're young, but throughout your entire life. Every moment, every choice, every repetition gently sculpts the shape of your inner world. Think of a path through a field. The more you walk it, the more the grass gives way beneath your steps. Soon, the path becomes clearer, easier, not because it was always there, but because you made it. Your thoughts do this too. Your habits, your hopes. They carve their own trails in your brain, laying down circuits, repeating rhythms until they feel like home. But that path can change. You can step into the tall grass again. You can choose a new direction, and your brain, remarkable and quiet, will follow. Neurons, those flickering cells of light, do not live in isolation. They form connections, tiny bridges called synapses. And these bridges strengthen with use. When you practice something, a movement, a thought, a memory, those connections grow stronger. They become faster, smoother, more effortless. This is how you learn. Not all at once, but gradually, gently, like water carving stone. Even the act of thinking strengthens the pattern of thought. Each time you return to an idea, your brain says, this again. Let's make space for it. And so it does. But neuroplasticity is not just about growth. It is about letting go too. Unused pathways fade. Not from punishment, but from wisdom. The brain conserves energy. It listens. It keeps what is useful and releases what is not. This is called synaptic pruning, a kind of gardening inside you, where silence becomes space and space becomes potential. You are not trapped by your thoughts. You are shaping them, moment by moment. Even now, as you listen, new patterns are forming. New connections flicker into being. Not loudly, but with quiet promise. You are not the same person you were yesterday. Your brain is already different, reshaped by every word you've read, every feeling you felt, every breath you've taken with intention. Sometimes change feels invisible. But deep inside, cells shift, bridges form, rivers flow. And the most powerful catalyst of all is attention. Where you place your awareness, your brain follows. Attention acts like sunlight through a forest, nourishing certain growth, illuminating new paths. You don't need to force change. You only need to notice. Notice the moments that nourish you. Notice what brings ease, what invites wonder. Notice when a thought feels light, or when a new idea glows at the edges. That noticing is the beginning of rewiring. It is the brain's invitation to deepen the groove, to say, let's go this way again. And with repetition, it becomes easier, then familiar, then natural. You are not rewiring with force. You are dancing with possibility. Even injury does not end this dance. When damage happens, a stroke, a trauma, a loss, the brain seeks another route. Other regions learn to carry the message. Unused pathways step forward. Like a city rerouting its traffic, your brain adapts. This is resilience. Not just emotional, but biological. You are built to change, to re-begin, to find new ways of being alive in the world. And this plasticity does not disappear with age. It may shift, slow in some ways, but it never leaves. Learning never leaves. Hope never leaves. Even in silence, the brain listens. Even in stillness, it grows. And sleep, the great restorer, does not pause this process. It deepens it. At night, your brain replays the day, strengthens the circuits you practiced, lets go of what you no longer need. This is consolidation. This is remembering. This is healing. And tomorrow, you will wake up a little different, a little more wired to love what you love, to learn what you long for, because your mind is not a machine. It is a garden. And change is not a disruption. It is the season that never ends. You are not fixed. You are fluid. You are possibility, waiting patiently. And so, as you lie here, the chemistry of calm washing through you, the quiet electrical storm ebbing into waves, your brain begins to carve new trails. One thought becomes another. One breath becomes the next. And slowly, softly, the garden grows. You do not need to know how. You only need to trust that your mind remembers how to become new. And as you drift, you may begin to wonder. Falling asleep is not falling away. It is falling inward into another layer of being, a quieter current beneath the surface of thought. You do not switch off. You shift. You slip from one state to another, like the tide easing out under a full moon. Your body begins the journey first. The breath deepens. Muscles unclench. The heartbeat slows, as if answering some ancient rhythm. Then your mind follows. Not in silence, but in transformation. Sleep is not an absence. It is a process. Structured, intricate, alive. As your eyelids soften and the world dims, your brain begins a complex dance. It does not rest in stillness. It moves through stages, each with its own purpose. At first, you hover in light sleep. Stage 1, a fragile threshold. Here, the line between waking and dreaming blurs. You may still hear a sound in the room, feel your limbs twitch. Sense yourself slipping. It is like standing in a doorway, one foot inside the house of night, one still on the porch of waking. Then comes stage 2, a little deeper, a little slower. Your temperature drops slightly, your heartbeat steadies further, and your brain begins to produce short bursts of activity called sleep spindles and K-complexes, tiny flashes of protection, shielding your rest from disturbance. It's as if your brain is drawing the curtains, tucking itself in, securing the walls of sleep. And now, the descent begins. Stage 3 brings deep sleep, also called slow wave sleep. This is where healing happens. Delta waves, long and slow, begin to roll through your brain like waves on a vast, dark lake. In this stage, your body repairs itself. Cells renew, tissues mend. The immune system strengthens. The body releases growth hormone, quietly stitching together the damage of the day. There are no vivid dreams here, only depth, stillness, silence. Your brain is not inactive. It is resting in the way a forest rests, rich with unseen growth, beneath the quiet surface. And then, as if waking within sleep, you enter REM, rapid eye movement, the stage where dreams unfurl. Here, the brain becomes almost as active as it is when awake. But your body is paralyzed, softened, stilled, gently disconnected from motion. It is a safety mechanism, a kindness, so that you can run through dream worlds without moving your limbs. This is the phase where memory and emotion weave together, where fragments of thought and flashes of feeling combine into story, into metaphor, into something more than waking logic allows. You may fly here. You may revisit places long forgotten. You may speak to someone who no longer exists in your life, and yet feel their presence as vividly as morning sun. REM sleep helps you process. It helps you understand, even without words. It connects dots you didn't know were waiting. And this cycle, light sleep, deep sleep, dream sleep, repeats through the night. Each round lasts about 90 minutes, each one a little different than the last, with longer REM periods toward dawn and deeper delta sleep early in the night. Your brain moves through this rhythm like tides, ebbing, flowing, dreaming, restoring. You are not unconscious. You are elsewhere, in a different layer of being, not gone, not off, just changed. And your brain is guiding you. It is a master of transitions. It knows when to step down from waking and how to walk the winding staircase towards sleep. Even the moment you call falling asleep is not a single instant. It is a process, gradual, subtle, full of whispers. Maybe you felt it. That moment when thoughts stop making sense, when your mind begins stitching fragments together, when images appear without effort, and the voice inside you grows soft, then silent. You are not drifting away. You are entering. You are crossing the threshold, and in that crossing, your brain performs its magic, clearing toxins, consolidating memory, regulating emotion, or setting your inner compass. Sleep is not forgetting. It is remembering what matters, what heals, what must be let go, and it is not passive. Your brain chooses what to keep, what to strengthen, what to release. It curates your experience, turning the day's noise into night's music. And so, the moment your eyelids fall, you do not vanish. Begin. You become more deeply yourself. Unburdened by clocks, unraveled from effort. In sleep, you become a traveler, wandering not away from life, but deeper into its mystery. And as you rest, your brain prepares for the next chapter, a world made not of logic, but of symbols, feelings, shadows, and light. Dreams. The soft terrain where science and story begin to merge. You are almost there. The doors have opened. Your mind is ready. And now you may begin to wonder. You are dreaming now. Or perhaps just beginning to. This world unfolds behind your eyelids, but not with logic. Not with certainty. Here, the mind untethers itself from gravity. Here, time softens at the edges. Here, you become both author and audience, watching scenes emerge from somewhere deep within. Dreams are not accidents. They are expressions. They arise from the quiet corridors of your brain, lit softly during REM, when the outer world fades and the inner one becomes illuminated. In waking life, the brain follows rules, cause and effect, past and future. But in dreams, the pathways loosen. Memories mix with feelings, faces shift without apology, and places become impossibly blended. Your childhood kitchen with the color of a stranger's voice, a stairwell that leads to water, a sentence that becomes a bird. It is not nonsense. It is metaphor. It is your brain thinking in poetry. During REM sleep, your prefrontal cortex, the part that handles logic, order, restraint, goes quiet. But other regions bloom. The limbic system, your emotional core, becomes active. So dreams are full of feeling, vivid and unfiltered. A small fear can grow into a mountain. A joy can turn into flight. You are not controlling it, yet it is. Still deeply you. The hippocampus, where memories are stored, opens its cabinets. And the amygdala, your center for emotion, stirs the contents like a spoon through warm liquid. What emerges is dream. Part memory, part meaning, part mystery. You do not choose the script, but you write it. All the same. Dreams help you process. They let the unsaid be said, the unfelt be felt. Sometimes this happens through clear stories, a conversation you never had, a journey you never took. But often it happens through symbols, a locked door, a flood, a flickering light. Your brain speaks in images at night, not to confuse you, but to reach what language cannot. Even your body reacts. During REM, your eyes move beneath closed lids, tracking scenes as if they are real. Your breathing shifts. Your heartbeat responds. It is as if your body is watching a secret movie. And while your body remains still, your mind rehearses. It simulates threats, imagines possibilities, tries on futures. This is called threat rehearsal theory. The idea that dreaming helps you practice being alive. Or perhaps dreams are more about emotion, emotional regulation. Softly rewiring how you feel about what you felt. Maybe you dream of someone you miss. Not because they are truly there, but because your brain needs to feel their nearness one more time. And in that imagined touch, something inside settles. Or you dream of fear, being lost, being chased, not as punishment, but as practice to remind your nervous system that you have faced this before, even if only in sleep. Some scientists call this memory consolidation. Dreams help store the lessons of the day, sorting what stays and what fades. Others believe dreams foster creativity by allowing the brain to combine old knowledge in wildly new ways. Whatever the reason, they matter. You've woken before with clarity, an answer you didn't know you needed, or a feeling, soft but undeniable, that something has shifted inside you. Dreams do that. They work silently, with colors instead of words, and even when you forget them, their imprint lingers, a residue of meaning, a whisper of change. Tonight, your dream might be small, a hallway with too many doors, a voice you recognize but cannot name, or it may be sweeping, a world of impossible light, a journey beyond your waking imagination. Either way, it is part of you, a map of what your brain has been and what it is becoming. Dreams are not random. They are responsive to your mood, your needs, your past and your longings. And though no one fully understands them, they remain faithful companions on every night's passage. You do not have to grasp them. Just honor them. Let them move through you like waves over a shore, You may wake tomorrow with no memory of what you saw, but your body will remember the feeling. Your mind a little lighter, a little more. Open dot tonight. Your dreams are waiting. They may not begin with sense. They may not end with clarity, but they are real. And you are inside them now, dot. And as you begin to drift deeper into this quiet theater, you may start to wonder. As the day softens into night, your brain begins to sort what it has gathered. Not with noise, but with care. Quietly, precisely, like a librarian at closing time, gently sliding books back onto their shelves. Sleep is not a forgetting. It is a remembering, a weaving, a filing, a quiet clearing of space. All day, you collect impressions. A glance from someone you love, a sound that lingered longer than it should, the unfinished sentence you meant to say, you may not notice. The weight of these things, but your brain does. And when you sleep, it lifts each one, examines it in the hush, and asks, where does this belong? This is memory consolidation, a process that turns the passing into the permanent. Your brain sifts through experiences, deciding what to keep, what to let go, and what to simply feel one more time. Before releasing. Sometimes this work happens in silence, and sometimes it plays out through dreams. That odd dream where your school blends with your workplace? It might be your brain organizing two kinds of pressure. That strange loop where you're running but never moving? It may be the echo of unfinished urgency. Not all dreams are messages, but many are reflections. Mirrors held up to the day's emotional light. Science calls them day residue, those leftover sparks of memory that flicker into dreams. A sound, a smell, a face. They all drift upward, floating through your inner sky until the dreaming mind catches them. Your brain does not sort by importance. It sorts by emotion, by weight, by what still vibrates in you. This is why something small, a passing remark, a flicker of doubt, can appear large in a dream. It was not forgotten. It was waiting, and sleep gives it space. The hippocampus, your memory's gatekeeper, plays a quiet role in this sorting. It replays the patterns of the day, subtly, softly, as if humming to itself. Some memories are copied into longer-term storage in the neocortex. Others dissolve like mist, never to return, but they leave their warmth behind. Like a hand once held, even if you forget the details, the feeling remains. Your brain is making sense of you. It does this not just for memories, but for emotions. That worry you carried in silence? Your sleeping mind may give it a shape, a color, a place to rest. That joy you didn't have time to feel fully? It may bloom again in a dream, soft and free. Dreams offer a place where the unsaid can finally speak. And the brain listens. This is the gentle wisdom of sleep. Not erasing, not forcing, just allowing. Allowing your inner world to breathe, to stretch, to untangle itself. Tonight, as your body rests, your mind is still sorting, still tending. You may not notice it. You may not remember it, but a part of you is putting the day away, like letters folded into envelopes, like stars slowly dimming into dawn. You do not need to hold everything. You are allowed to let go. Your brain will remember what matters. And it will carry what you cannot. It files the day gently, smoothing the edges, marking the pages, tucking it all into place. There is nothing more to do. You have done enough. Let the day be folded. Let your thoughts settle like soft dust on shelves. Let the echoes fade until only silence remains. And in that silence, a new rhythm begins. Not one of remembering, but of something stranger, something deeper. Even now, as your body lies in stillness, as your thoughts dissolve into dream, not all of you is asleep. There are watchers within you, quiet, steady, ever present. They do not wake you, but they never leave. Your sleep is deep, But it is not absolute. Your brain, like a lighthouse in the fog, keeps one lamp burning. It listens to the world beyond your closed eyes, not with attention, but with readiness. This is called sentinel processing, a quiet state of watchfulness that never fully fades. Even in sleep, your ears remain tuned to sudden change. A knock, a name, a child's cry in the dark. It is not anxiety, it is design. A soft evolution of protection, handed down from ancestors who needed to rest, but never completely surrendered. In the deep forest, sleep was risk. So the brain learned to rest in layers. One part dreams, another listens. The thalamus, your brain's sensory gatekeeper, filters sound through the veil of sleep. For most noises, it closes the door, dampens them into distant hums. But for sounds of meaning, it opens slightly, just enough. A whisper of your name, the jingle of your dog's collar, the buzz of something out of place. This filtering happens without effort, without your knowing. Your amygdala, too, guardian of emotion and fear, stays partially lit, like a candle behind frosted glass. It monitors threat, it judges tone, and if something feels wrong, it nudges you. A faster breath, a flicker of waking. This is why you might sleep through thunder, but stir when someone enters your room. It is why your child's sigh can pierce even the deepest dream. You are wired to care, wired to keep watch, even when you are not watching. Other sentinels stay at work too. Your autonomic nervous system, the part that keeps your heart beating, your lungs moving, your digestion flowing, never sleeps. It manages your breath in rhythm. It regulates temperature. It keeps the quiet clock of life ticking. And there is more. Deep in your brainstem, clusters of neurons track the state of your body. They monitor posture, pressure, blood flow. They adjust. They soothe. They correct. If you roll too close to the edge of the bed, you shift. Not because you decided to, but because something beneath thought nudged you back to safety. Even in full stillness, you are being held. And then there is something subtler still, a vigilance of pattern. Your brain notices irregularity, a flash of light, a change in smell, a sudden movement in the air. You may not wake, but you may dream differently. Sleep and environment are always in dialogue. In unfamiliar places, your sleep becomes lighter. This is called the first night effect. Half of your brain, usually the left hemisphere, remains more alert. Alone. Watchman on the wall. It is not fear. It is care. It is your mind learning the landscape, making sure the world is safe before it fully lets go. Even birds do this, sleeping with one eye open in a world that never truly pauses. And yet, even with this quiet watchfulness, you are still deeply at rest. These systems hum softly. They are not alarms. They are lullabies of awareness, background guardians ensuring you can sink further into the ocean of sleep. You are not alone. You never are. Even within yourself, a part of you is watching. There is comfort in this. You do not have to remember to breathe. You do not have to remind your heart to beat. You are carried. And when something stirs, when the night creaks or the wind shifts, you do not jolt. You drift upwards slightly, assess the moment, and sink again, like a boat rocking gently in the harbor, moored by unseen hands. Tonight, as you dream, your watchers remain, not with worry, but with presence. Your body knows what to do. Your mind, even in slumber, keeps one lantern lit. You may not see it, but you feel it, in the ease of your sleep, in the stillness of your bones. You are protected, not from danger alone, but from the burden of needing to know. Let that knowing soothe you now. Let it carry you deeper into the next layer, where sleep becomes more than rest, where it becomes renewal, and in that quiet renewal, another mystery begins to stir. As your body settles, as your thoughts grow slow and still, your senses shift, not off but inward. They do not stop. They soften. Even in sleep, your brain remains open to the world, just quieter. As if standing behind a curtain, watching the stage dim. What you hear now is filtered. The rustle of sheets, the whisper of wind through the window, the gentle creak of the house at rest sounds are still arriving. Your ears, always faithful, continue listening. But the thalamus, the brain's gatekeeper, softly muffles the noise. It lets in only what matters. Most sounds fade like ripples into still water. But others, like your name or a baby's cry, may reach further. This filtering is your brain's gift, an act of protection. Too much information would stir you awake. Too little, and you'd be vulnerable. So instead, your brain finds balance. Enough connection to the world to remain safe, but enough distance to keep you drifting. And your skin, too, continues to listen. The sense of touch doesn't vanish in sleep. You still feel the fabric beneath you, the air brushing your arm, the weight of the blanket, all softer now, like someone stroking memory instead of skin. Your nervous system adjusts its thresholds. Gentle sensations are allowed to pass by. Like clouds, only sharper signals, pain, cold, danger, are given the strength to wake you. In dreams, even touch can appear. A hand on your shoulder, the sensation of running barefoot through grass. Your brain recreates these feelings from within, because sensory experience isn't just input, it's reimagining. Even scent lingers. Though smell is quieter in sleep, it never leaves completely. Certain aromas, smoke, lavender, a familiar perfume can still reach you. And sometimes scent becomes part of the dream. A fragrance you can't quite place, woven into the air of an imagined room. Taste fades more deeply, but not entirely. You may dream of food, and the sensation can feel real, a sweetness, a texture, a remembered flavor from childhood echoing in your sleep. All your senses remain part of you. They do not switch off like lights. They lower like the volume of a lullaby. You are still here, but slightly apart. Tethered by threads, not cords. Your inner world and outer world are still in quiet dialogue, and the brain continues to monitor this symphony not as a conductor, but as a listener in the back row. What you hear, what you feel, what you sense in the dark is folded gently into your night. Even in deep sleep, you remain porous. Sometimes, this softness shapes your dreams. A dog barking outside becomes thunder in your dreamscape. A warm room becomes sunlight in a distant memory. This is sensory incorporation. The brain blending the outer world with the inner one. It does not confuse. It weaves. And the result is often a dream that feels rooted in reality, but blooms in impossibility. Your body floats, but your senses drift nearby, like lanterns on the edge of sleep's lake. And even when you dream vividly, a part of you still feels the bed beneath you, still knows where you are. This anchoring keeps you safe, so that no matter how far you wander in dreams, you always have a way back. Touch, sound, scent, they hold the thread, and as the night deepens, the balance between sensing and resting becomes more delicate. Some moments feel like total absence. Others, a whisper, a breath, a flutter of awareness. Your brain dances in this space, not choosing one or the other, but holding both gently. You are not shut away from the world. You are simply wrapped in a thinner veil. And in this soft twilight, between feeling and forgetting, your body does its healing. It takes in quiet signals, the pressure of rest, the rhythm of breath, the warmth of stillness, and turns them into restoration. This is the deeper wisdom of sleep. Not isolation, but gentle communion. You are still sensing, still receiving, but you are no longer reacting. Your senses become a background song, soothing, Steady, barely noticed dot, and through that song, your brain remains connected to all that is gentle around you. Let that comfort you now. Let the pillow cradle your head. Let the fabric breathe against your skin. Let the hush of night be enough dot, because even as you float, you are still held, still connected, still listening to the world, but only just. And beyond this soft veil, your body begins its deeper work. Love is not only in the heart. It blooms in the brain, not just as feeling, but as change. Delicate, biological, enduring. When you love, something shifts inside you, and not just metaphorically. Your brain rewires. Tiny pathways strengthen. Connections deepen. New signals begin to flow more easily, like water finding a new course through soft soil. The chemicals of love are real. They move through you, whispering their quiet transformations long after the moment has passed. One of the first to arrive is dopamine, the molecule of pleasure, of reward. When you see someone you love, your brain lights up like a night sky filled with stars. But not just anywhere. Deep in the brain's core, the ventral tegmental area glows, a place linked to motivation, attention, and desire. It tells you, this is meaningful. Stay close. Next comes oxytocin, often called the bonding hormone. It's released when you hug, when you touch, when you feel safe. Oxytocin quiets fear. It slows the heart. It tells your body, you are home. And then there's serotonin, the mood stabilizer. In love, it becomes erratic at first, a storm of infatuation. But with time, it settles. It soothes. It stays together. These molecules don't just create feelings. They shape the way your brain works. Love is a sculptor. It strengthens the reward circuits. It softens the amygdala, dimming fear and sharpening empathy. The prefrontal cortex, the seat of decision-making and attention, reorients. It begins to prioritize someone else's well-being alongside your own. Love does not ask the brain to forget the self, but it teaches it to expand. This rewiring is not fleeting. Long after a relationship begins or ends, your brain carries the imprint. Even recalling a loving memory can slow your breathing, lower your stress hormones, and calm your nervous system. Your body remembers what your mind tries to forget. This is why a photograph, a voice, a scent can return you to peace. Not as nostalgia, but as neurobiology. Love teaches your brain to feel safe in connection. And safety, as it turns out, is the first step toward rest. When you love, your brain's default mode network, the system that helps you reflect, daydream, and consider others, becomes more active. You imagine their feelings. You anticipate their needs. Your inner world becomes fuller. This is empathy, but also architecture. The brain builds new models of the people you care about. Not just memories, but living simulations that help you understand them even when they are not present. This is why you sometimes hear their voice in your mind, or feel them near, though they are far. You are wired for this. Love is not a distraction from the brain's purpose. It is part of the purpose itself. Human beings survive through connection. We are social creatures, designed to thrive in small, warm circles of trust. And your brain, with its billions of neurons and trillions of links, was made to find comfort in the closeness of another. Even brief moments of connection leave traces in you. And these traces become anchors. Anchors for your thoughts, your emotions, your sense of self. In times of distress, the brain often returns to these anchors, to the image of a hand in yours, to the echo of a voice that once soothed you. These memories are not passive. They are active calming agents, lowering cortisol, balancing heartbeat, offering the same safety as if that person were still beside you. And sometimes, that is enough. Tonight, if you wish, you can call one of those memories close. Not with words, but with feeling. Let it rise. The warmth, the softness, the stillness it brings. Let it settle in your body, like a blanket of light. You don't need to explain it. You only need to feel. This is your brain in love. Still working, still holding, still healing, because love, at its core, is healing. It teaches the nervous system to slow down. It reminds the mind that it is not alone. It tells you, you are safe. Here, you are seen. You are enough. Even if that love now lives only in memory, it remains encoded. In neurons, in patterns, in the very rhythm of your breath. You carry it still, and when sleep calls, these gentle circuits continue to glow. The brain, so often preoccupied by survival, pauses to hum with gratitude for the moments that softened you, for the people who shaped you, for the love that taught your body to rest. Let that love wash through you now. Let it fill the spaces where thought once wandered. Let it cradle you into silence, because beyond this stillness, your body will begin to change again, not from feeling, but from deep, unseen repair. In the forest of your brain, tucked deep beneath layers of thought, a small almond-shaped structure keeps watch. This is your amygdala. Tiny, ancient, ever alert. It does not use words. It does not wait for logic. It listens for danger and acts in flame. Fear begins here, swift as lightning, bright as sparks leaping from dry wood. You feel it before you understand it. A racing heart, a catch in your breath, a tightening in the belly. This is not failure. This is design. The amygdala is not your enemy. It is your sentinel, lighting a torch in the dark so you may see what hides in the corners. It is the reason you leap back from a falling glass. The reason your muscles tense in a moment of uncertainty. It is fast, sometimes faster than thought itself, because once, in a different time, those seconds save lives. But fear, like fire, must be watched. Left unchecked, it spreads, not to protect, but to overwhelm. Chronic fear, the kind that lingers, even without clear threat, can reshape your brain. When the amygdala is overstimulated, it grows louder, more reactive. Your body stays in a state of guardedness, a low hum of alarm. Even in sleep, it can whisper, but your brain holds balance within it. And what excites the amygdala can also soothe it. The first balm is breath. Slow breathing sends a signal upward, from lungs to brainstem, from brainstem to limbic system, that all is well. Each deep inhale is a reassurance. Each exhale a message. You are safe. This is not magic. This is biology. The parasympathetic nervous system, your body's rest and digest network, responds to rhythm, to softness. To pace. It quiets the amygdala. It lowers cortisol. It slows the heart. And fear begins to dim. Even now, as you lie still, your breathing gently steadies you. The second balm is rhythm. Your brain craves it. In heartbeat, in footsteps, in lullabies. Rhythm organizes thought. It tells the body what to expect. And in expectation, there is safety. This is why the sound of rain, the ticking of a clock, the pulsing hush of waves can calm the storm inside. They give your brain a pattern to lean on, a reason to trust the next moment. The third balm is connection. Fear isolates, but trust binds. And trust, too, is chemical. When you feel safe with someone, truly safe, your brain releases oxytocin. It quiets the amygdala. It strengthens the prefrontal cortex, the part of you that reflects, chooses, pauses. That is the gift of trust. It returns you to choice. Tonight, you are not alone. Even here, in this quiet room, your body remembers every kindness it has known. The hand that held yours. The voice that calmed you. The moments you were chosen, welcomed, seen. These memories are not shadows. They are light, and they reach the amygdala, reminding it there is no fire here, only stillness, only warmth. And your brain is listening. The hippocampus, guardian of memory, walks beside the amygdala. It reminds it, this is not danger. This is sleep. It brings context to fear, narrative, understanding, story. And with story, fear loses its edge. Even the worst memories, with time and care, can soften. The flames become embers. The embers become light. This is the brain's gift. PLASTICIT. Why? It means fear can be rewired. That safety can be learned. That peace is not a luxury, but a practice. And tonight, you are practicing it. With breath, with stillness, with faith. In your body's quiet repair, let the soft weight of the blanket remind you, you are not under attack. Let the steady hush of the room remind you, there is no one to outrun. Even your thoughts, racing now and then, do not need to be chased. Let them pass. Let them slow. The brain in fear wants urgency. But the brain in balance finds pause. You are allowed to pause. You are allowed to rest. You are allowed to feel the edges of fear without being claimed by it. And as you sink deeper, know that your brain is not your enemy. It is your guardian. Learning, adjusting, healing. Tonight, the amygdala rests too. Not silent, but soothed. And in this quiet, your body will begin to shift into even deeper rhythms. Ones that restore, rebuild, replenish. You don't have to touch the forest to be changed by it. You only have to remember. Even now, with your eyes closed, if you imagine the sound of leaves brushing in the wind, or picture the sun flickering through green branches, your brain responds. Gently, instantly, as if the forest were here with you. Because in some way, it is. Your nervous system, ancient and wise, was shaped in nature, under stars, among trees, along water's edge. You are not a visitor to the natural world. You are its continuation. The prefrontal cortex, the seat of attention and emotion, softens when you see open space. When your eyes rest on horizon lines or follow the delicate motion of clouds, the brain recognizes these scenes, not as abstract beauty, but as safety. Because once, long ago, to see far was to feel secure. To walk a forest path was to find food, shelter, calm. And that memory still lives in you, coded deep in the way your neurons fire. It's why a stream quiets your pulse. Why birdsong lowers your stress. Why the smell of soil after rain can make your shoulders drop. Your breath, slow. Nature is not neutral. It is a conversation your body remembers how to have. When you walk beneath trees, your brain releases alpha waves, gentle patterns linked with peaceful awareness. Not sleep, but a quiet, waking ease. This is what researchers call the restorative effect. But your body already knows. It doesn't need the term. It just knows that green feels safe. The Japanese call it Shinrin-yoku, forest bathing. Not exercise, not effort, just presence. The act of being near trees, of letting their stillness surround you, begins to undo the tension you didn't know you carried. It lowers cortisol, the stress hormone. It balances your autonomic nervous system. It brings the mind out of worry and into now. Even imagining a tree, a real one from your memory, or one from your dreams, can begin the same process that your brain doesn't always distinguish between what it sees and what it recalls. This is your gift. So tonight, picture a forest. You are walking slowly. The path is soft beneath your feet. There is moss and bark and the hush of wind. You don't need to know the species. Just let your eyes wander through the canopy, where light moves in slow ripples. In this forest, the default mode network of your brain, the part that helps you reflect, imagine, connect, grows more active. Daydreaming here is welcome. Here, you are not idle. You are restoring. And as you walk, the hippocampus, your brain's mapmaker, comes to life that it builds mental trails, remembers where the stream bends, stores the quiet of this moment like a polished stone in your pocket. This process, navigation, memory, calm, happens so gently you don't feel it, but it's there. Even your immune system listens. The air in forests holds tiny particles called phytoncides, oils released by trees. Breathing them in boosts your natural killer cells, part of your body's frontline defense. The forest heals you without words, without asking. And you, in turn, are shaped by it. This relationship isn't metaphorical. It is mutual. You feel it in your senses, the way your eyes soften, the way your hearing expands, the way even silence feels fuller outdoors. You don't need to analyze it. Just rest in it. The modern world often feels far from this rhythm. Screens, noise, speed. But your brain still remembers how to slow down, how to widen, how to root. And nature, even a memory of it, calls you back. In one study, people who walked in green spaces reported more happiness, more clarity, more connection. The brain. And nature is a brain at ease. And when you return from the trees, you bring something back with you. Even now, in this quiet space, you carry the forest. Its calm is tucked inside your nervous system. Its rhythm moves in your breath. Its openness widens your thoughts. So let your thoughts stretch like branches. Let your worries fall like dry leaves. Let your body be soil, still and rich and waiting. You are not separate from nature. You are a continuation of it, a self-aware. Bloom on the tree of life. And as you drift deeper into rest, know that your brain still listens for the wind in the leaves, for the hush of water, for the soft, cyclical sounds that say, you are where you belong. Language does not live only in your mouth. It lives in your breath, in your pauses, in the rhythm of your thoughts. Before you speak, before you even think you've formed the sentence, your brain is already weaving sound, memory, and meaning into a quiet stream of intention. Language is not just how you communicate, it's how you make sense of the world. Inside your brain, a chorus of regions awakens when you hear a word. The Broca's area near the front of your head helps you form speech. The Wernicke's area, further back, helps you understand it. But language is not locked in these places alone. It ripples. When you hear the word warm, your somatosensory cortex lights up as if you were feeling heat on your skin. Say velvet, and your brain begins to touch it in memory. Words are not labels. They are experiences. Each word is a tiny spell, activating feeling, sensation, association. This is why poetry can move you even when the meaning seems just out of reach. Your brain doesn't need full understanding to feel the shape of truth. Some researchers believe you cannot think without language. Others say thought comes first, and language follows like shadow. But your experience is more fluid than either. When you close your eyes, and your thoughts drift like leaves across a pond, you may not hear words. Yet somehow, they return. In dreams, in feelings, in that soft inner voice that names the world as it passes. You think in language, but also beyond it. You feel in color, in motion, in silence. Yet language offers a net, a way to hold the world without gripping it too tight. And the kind of language you use shapes the kind of thoughts you think. If your words are sharp, your thoughts tend to divide. If your words are gentle, your thoughts begin to soften. Studies have shown this too. Those who speak languages with many words for emotion tend to feel those emotions more clearly. They can name them, cradle them, let them pass. Language doesn't only describe reality, it builds it. Even simple labels, happy, lonely, safe, scared, give shape to what was once just a swirl, and the brain listens closely. When you repeat kind words to yourself, you activate the same neural pathways as if someone else were saying them to you. So speak gently tonight, even if only in your thoughts. Let your internal voice be a soft one. Whispers work wonders in the dark. The angular gyrus in your brain helps tie words to meaning, to color, to texture, to emotion. This is how metaphor works. When you say, time is a river, your brain sees the current, feels the drift, and suddenly, the abstract becomes real. This is how you learn. Through image, through feeling, through sound tied to sense. And this is why language can heal. Therapists have long known that when people give language to pain, the pain often changes, not because it disappears, but because it becomes shareable, understandable, seen. Even ancient rituals used words to transform states of being. Blessings, chants, songs. You still carry this power. Even a single word can calm your heartbeat. Try it now. Pick one word that brings you peace, stillness, light, home. Say it in your mind. Slowly. Let it echo. Notice how your thoughts begin to arrange themselves around the softness of it. Let that word float with you now through this quiet space. Even silence. Air is language, filled with the meanings you do not yet need to name. In this stillness, you may remember how deeply language is tied to love. The first time someone said your name gently. The bedtime stories whispered just before sleep. The quiet, I'm here, when you needed it most. These were not just words. They were blueprints, etching safety into the folds of your memory. And long after words are gone, their effects remain. This is why people hold on to letters. Why a single voice recording can bring tears after years. Language lingers. Even now, in the way you narrate your day, in the way you interpret your dreams, language shapes the story of who you are. Not just what happened, but what it meant. And in this meaning, your mind finds rest. Tonight, let language be your lullaby. Not loud, not exact, just gentle rhythms of thought swaying through your mind like a tide. Let go of grammar. Let go of correctness. You are not composing. You are remembering that you are made of stories, and some stories do not need to be spoken aloud to be heard. Somewhere deep inside you, a song is playing. You may not hear it out loud, but your brain remembers it. The rhythm of childhood, the echo of footsteps, the hum of your mother's voice. Music, more than any language, is woven into you. It doesn't need translation. It arrives, pure. It moves you before you understand it. Unlike most experiences that rest in one corner of the brain, music lights up nearly everything. The auditory cortex listens. The motor regions tap toes in anticipation. Memory circuits flicker with recognition. And emotions, like tide and wind, begin to shift. Music travels across the corpus callosum, bridging your left and right hemispheres. It draws logic and feeling together. It turns counting into beauty and vibration into meaning. When you hear a melody, your brain predicts what comes next. And when it does, there is a small reward, a dopamine pulse, a whisper of delight. But when it surprises you, slightly off from the expected, your brain dances a little differently. That tension, that resolution, that release, this is music's secret magic. A single note, hung in silence, can move you more than a sentence. Even in the womb, you responded to sound, to rhythm, to the muffled cadence of your mother's heart. That early drumming is never truly forgotten. Your breath, even now, as a rhythm. Inhale, exhale, a soft percussion. Let it become music tonight. Let it guide you inward. You don't need instruments to hear. You don't need lyrics to feel. Your brain creates melody even in the quiet. In fact, when you imagine music, your brain responds almost exactly as if the music were playing. The mind is not passive with sound. It is a composer, a conductor, an audience. And when a favorite song plays, even after decades, your neurons light up with joy and recognition. The hippocampus, keeper of memory, hums softly as lyrics reappear. The limbic system stirs, and you remember how you felt when you first heard it. Music is not stored as one file, but as a constellation, a network, a shimmering map of associations. This is why a melody can transport you to a room, to a face, to a version of yourself you forgot was still listening. Music helps you hold on, and it helps you let go. In therapy, music calms the anxious mind. In surgery, it lowers heart rates. In dementia, music brings clarity when names and dates are lost, because music is more than memory. It is a sensation, pattern, presence. The brain, when bathed in music, slows down, synchronizes, feels safe. Even lullabies, gentle and wordless, tell your nervous system you are cared for, and it listens. You may find yourself softly humming now, or remembering the tune that used to play on long, sleepy car rides. That tune is still within you. It never left. Let it return. Let it become part of your stillness. Rhythm lives in your footsteps, in your heartbeat, in the pulsing of blood beneath your skin. You are rhythmic by design. Even your brain waves move like music. In waking, they rise like quick notes, beta, then alpha. In sleep, they fall into deeper tones, theta, delta. A symphony of frequencies, a concert of consciousness. And tonight, as you rest, your brain begins its night song. Melatonin deepens the harmony. The prefrontal cortex bows out, making space for quieter instruments to rise. You do not conduct this performance. It plays without your command. You only have to listen. Let your mind drift now, writing the rhythm of your own being. What song lives in you tonight? What silent melody carries your thoughts? It may not have words. It may not have an end, but it holds you, and as it plays, your body softens. Muscles release. Your breath deepens. There is no need to reach for anything more. The music is enough. And when it fades, it does not disappear. It becomes memory, tucked gently into the folds of your resting mind. Somewhere behind your thoughts, beneath your breathing, a quiet awareness waits. It doesn't shout. It doesn't ask for attention. It simply is. This is consciousness, the soft presence of being. Not your memories, not your name. Just the part of you that notices when a breeze brushes your cheek, when a sound draws your attention, or when a feeling drifts through without reason. It is consciousness that feels it all. Your brain does not hold consciousness in a single place. There is no glowing center, no single room behind your eyes where you sit and steer. Instead, it is an orchestra, a fluid harmony of regions working together. The cortex, the thalamus, the brainstem, all share the work of being awake. Imagine lanterns along a quiet path, each one lighting up just enough to guide the next step. That's how awareness moves, flicker by flicker. Even now, your awareness drifts between thoughts and breath, memories and sensations, without needing to hold on to any of them. There is a rhythm to being conscious. The brain pulses with signals, tiny electric tides rising and falling through your neural sea. When you're alert, the waves are sharp and fast. Beta waves, quick as footsteps, but now they are slowing. You are entering alpha, a quieter state. Eyes closed, thoughts stretching like shadows. The line between day and night is fading. You are still aware, but softer, less pointed, more spacious. This is the beginning of the hypnagogic state, a twilight between waking and dreaming, a time when thoughts become images and reality loosens its edges. You might see colors, or hear your name in silence, or feel as if you are floating, barely tethered. This is not sleep. Not yet. This is the gentle unraveling of attention, the mind letting go of its grip. You might wonder, If your brain makes consciousness, why does it let it fade each night? But consciousness is not a flame that burns out. It is a tide that ebbs and waits. In deep sleep, the sense of I disappears. Time loses its shape. Self becomes silence, and yet your brain is still active. Still sorting, still maintaining, still alive with hidden rhythms. You do not need to be fully present to be real. Each morning, consciousness returns, as if it never left, refreshed, reformed, but not always the same, because even while you sleep, changes bloom beneath the surface. Neurons strengthen connections. Ideas you did not understand begin to make sense. It is in this space, between awareness and unawareness, that creativity is born. That healing begins, that the self reshapes, quietly. Some philosophers call consciousness the hard problem, but to you, it doesn't feel hard. It feels like being. You don't need to define it tonight. You only need to rest inside it. The thoughts you've had today, the feelings you felt, all swirl gently now, fading into background hum. And in their place, a stillness arrives. A soft observer who does not judge, does not try, does not plan. Just watches, just is. You are not your to-do list. You are not your worries. You are not the ticking of time. You are the space in which all those things pass. You are the field of awareness itself. Now, feel that space widen. Feel the borders blur. Consciousness is not a wall. It is a window. And tonight, the window opens gently, letting the day out, letting the dark in. You are still here, but lighter, quieter. And soon, even this gentle awareness will loosen. Like fog fading into sky. Sleep pulls you deeper now, not into stillness, but into movement of a different kind. Beneath your quiet body, the dreamer stirs. Your eyes move behind closed lids, tiny flicks called rapid eye movements. REM sleep, the stage where stories unfold. Here, the dreamer's brain begins to write. But these are not stories with rules, not the logic of daylight. They loop, bend, shimmer. You walk into rooms that do not exist. You speak with those long gone. You fly. You fall. You feel things too large for waking hours. This is not chaos. This is craft. Your brain is stitching meaning from memory and emotion, sensation and fantasy. The visual cortex brightens as if it sees. The limbic system glows. Feelings become real. The prefrontal cortex dims, letting go of reason, judgment, control. This is why dreams feel true, even when they are in single quotes. Inside the dream, you don't question the sky being green or doors leading to childhood kitchens. You accept. You move through the surreal as though it has always made sense, because the dreaming brain rehearses, sorts, rebalances. It practices how to cope. It files what matters. It tucks away pain or lays it bare in soft metaphors. A lost train, a rising tide, an old letter in your hand. Each image, each shift, is the mind working without asking permission. Dreams rehearse what you fear, and what you love, and sometimes what you cannot yet name. Scientists once believed REM sleep was random. Now they know it is deeply patterned. Night after night, your brain travels a familiar circuit, down into deep non-REM, where growth and repair begin. Then rising again into REM, where dreams take root. Cycles of 90 minutes, waves of consciousness and dissolution, of repair and rehearsal. The dreamer's brain is not idle. It's sculpting you. Each night, new connections form. Old ones are pruned. And through it all, dreams help make emotional sense of what waking life cannot yet explain. You may dream of strange things, but often, the feeling beneath is familiar. Loss, joy, longing, discovery. This is the language of the dreaming brain. Not words, but impressions. Not structure, but sensation. Some dreams are healing. Trauma reimagined safely, till the wound softens. Grief revisited in silence until it begins to let go. And some dreams are nonsense, pure creative play. Your mind trying on shapes it would never wear in the light. Both are needed. Both are you. Even nightmares serve a role. They light up the the night up the fire. Amygdala, the fear center. But often they resolve. You wake with a faster heart, but also with insight. A danger rehearsed. A sorrow named. The dreamer's brain is your quiet guardian. Your nighttime poet Dodd, and though you don't always remember, your brain remembers the work. In scans, REM sleep strengthens learning, improves memory, eases emotional pain. Dreams aren't separate from life. They're part of how you live it. They shape your next day, even if only in the softest way. You may wake with a feeling, a color, a word that clings. You may not know why, but part of you knows. You have wandered your inner forest, walked strange rivers, held hands with shadows, and through it all, you have become more whole. Even in sleep, you are becoming dots, so now, let the dreamer take over fully. Let the story spin without direction. Let your mind float free. You don't need to shape it. It is already unfolding, and tomorrow, perhaps you'll carry back a piece, a symbol, a lesson, a feeling that nudges you forward. A soft light, not yet sun, brushes the edge of the curtains. Birdsong returns in faint threads, woven through silence like golden thread through mist. You do not yet open your eyes, but something in you begins to stir. Your breath changes first, deeper, more awake. The rhythm of sleep softens, and the body, still tucked in warmth, listens to the slow invitation of morning within. Your brain shifts. The dreaming fades. The dreamer steps back. And another part of you begins to rise. This is the return of consciousness, but not all at once. It arrives like a tide, slow and deliberate. Lapping against the shores of waking dawn, your thalamus begins to light up, carrying new signals from your senses. The prefrontal cortex stirs from sleep, ready to hold logic, time, self again. And yet, for a brief while, you remain between. 1 foot in the dream, 1 foot in the day. This liminal moment is fragile and precious. Here, your mind is still porous. Ideas, feelings, insights float. Close to the surface. Not yet named. Not yet forgotten. The memories shaped overnight begin to settle. Neural pathways, newly formed, glimmer faintly. Some will hold. Some will drift. But already, your brain has changed. The lessons of the night are quiet ones. A softened fear. A rebalanced thought. An old wound, now less sharp. These are the gifts you carry forward, wrapped not in words, but in feeling. Your motor systems prepare to move. The body stretches without command. Your eyes twitch beneath lids. You shift slightly in the bed. Waking is not an act. It is a blooming. And, as cortisol gently rises, your energy begins to gather. Not to rush, not to race, but simply to meet the light. You are not the same as when you fell asleep. Your mind has wandered far. It has touched dreams, memories, silence. It has rested and rebuilt. Morning is not a restart. It is a continuation. A new page written by the night. And now, as light spills softly across the floor, your senses begin to return in full. The smell of the room, the weight of the blanket, the warmth of your skin against cotton, all familiar, all new. You begin to remember where you are, who you are. But this memory is not a return. It is a becoming, a gentle forming of the day's self. And as you rise, you carry with you the invisible architecture of sleep. The healing, the dreaming, the deep, slow reweaving of the mind. Even now, what you felt last night lingers in your posture, your breath, your stillness. You have grown without noticing. Your brain does not need fanfare to change. It reshapes quietly, kindly, in the dark, and now it lifts you gently, ready for the next moment, the next thought, the next breath. You may stretch. You may pause. You may simply lie still for a while longer, letting the weight of night fall away like mist dog. There is no rush. The world is still turning. The morning is still young, and you are arriving. Fully, softly, the world will meet. You anew, and you will meet it with a brain that has bloomed in silence. You are the dreamer who returns, not unchanged, not undone, but more whole, more ready, more you.